Hey, this is Ronja Kaminski from the Pinpricks. Greetings from Germany, and you are listening to the Freeform Rock Podcast.
You are listening to the Freeform Rock Podcast with Mark Alden Taylor.
What? The Freeform Rock Podcast with Mark Alden Taylor and nobody? No. Somebody. Me. Lee Gerstmann. Why aren't I on that thing? I want recognition!
Well, welcome to another edition of the Freeform Rock Podcast. With me, as always, is Incredible Lee.
Hey, and that's incredibly generous of you, Mark. I mean, Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. We have a guest on the show again.
Right on. Edwin Cannistraci, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, Lee. Doing good. No complaints.
Right on.
Hey, man, I was getting some constructive criticism from our buddy Chuck today.
Oh,
what was he saying?
he's saying, kind of, I don't like to say a lot about other people, but let's just say he's a work in progress and an acquired taste at best.
Man, he's in love with Wadzilla, so anything with no Wadzilla on, he doesn't like. So it's fine.
Yeah.
He said, get Wadzilla on your show, and I said, well, this show is beneath Wadzilla. He won't ever get on here. Thank you, Edwin, for coming on, though.
Yeah, it's not beneath me.
I know.
Yeah.
I just laugh at the guy. He's a funny guy. He's always talking to me about music, how many albums he's listened to, and he's pretty cool, dude. I have no problem with him.
Yeah. But, you got Ralph on your show.
Yeah, Ralph was on your... Well, Ralph's the one who told me that Ian was pissed that he was doing this show because it's beneath him. So that's why...
I'm more like Ralph. Nothing's beneath me. I just like to rock and roll and talk about rock music with people. So,
Yeah.
I'm easy like a Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah.
But I know Ian's, Ian, who I love, and he's great, and he's my brother. But, he's got airs. What's he say?
He's got that chutzpah. He's got that freaking...
He ain't just going to talk to anybody about anything.
He's a comic genius, man, and he doesn't even know it.
If you pay him, he might come on.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll just pay him in fucking that beer he likes. What's that beer? Rolling Rock. Pay him in some...
you get him a couple cases.
Of Rolling Rock.
He might suddenly become less discerning.
That's funny, man. Man. So how you been, Edwin? How's it going?
I've been pretty good. There's been ups and downs in my life, as everyone has, and especially in the past 2 years. But things are kind of on an upswing, and things are feeling good. I'm returning back to LA next week after being away from there for a while, and I'm being positive about the future, and I'm feeling good about it. I'm embracing this wave of positivity right now.
Right on.
Well, the mask mandates are pretty much gone here, man. So you can walk around and be normal. Just the people wearing masks are just going to give you dirty looks.
Yeah, hey, I'm double vaccinated, so if they want to be weird, that's their choice. That whatever makes them happy.
I'm vaccinated too. In fact, when I finally got my plane ticket to Rock and Pod, because I already got a ticket I got 2 tickets to the pre-show. I won't mention names, but there's someone who I'll be, hanging out with, and I'll give them the other pre-show ticket, and we'll be, hanging out and stuff. Someone who suggested that I go to Rock and Pod, which I'm like, otherwise I wouldn't have even thought of it. Now it's going to be a reality.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I noticed that. You had the
Yeah.
GoFundMe, and people helped you out with that, which is awesome.
Yeah, and my sister, she said, get a card for, the vaccination. And so the place where I got the vaccination, I'm probably going to get a vaccination card which says I'm vaccinated. I mean, I don't know how important that is, but I don't think it's not important, so anyway, yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good and happy about being able to go there.
Yeah, it should be cool. So you've never been to one of them before? Is this your first one?
I've never been in the South.
Oh, you never even the South? Wow.
I've been in the South.
Well, if you count South California, yeah, I've been.
It ain't like the South there, buddy.
It ain't like that. I've been on the border of Lake Tahoe, so I've not been in Nevada, but I've been maybe about like a few miles away from it. But I was by Lake Tahoe. But I mean, I've from California. I've been to. Well, I live now in New York. Thank goodness, it's a really good place. Expensive but good. But I've also been to New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's not the South either. Even South Jersey.
No,
not even close.
No.
Although you can get lost in South Jersey in the woods if you know The Sopranos, the Pine Barrens. But you're good. This Nashville, I mean, it is definitely the South. But I mean, you're going to mainly be in the hotel and with a bunch of metalheads. So you're not going to. I don't think you'll get too much of the Southern culture so much. But there might be a little bit. Might seep through. I don't know. Are you going to explore Nashville?
I don't necessarily mind it. I mean, the person who I'm going to meet up there has a car, and so we might go to a restaurant or something, and I might be like, hey man, since you're helping out with the hotel bill, I'll pay for your meal. I mean I'm saying this without having extreme, fixed knowledge of it, but the idea is that,
well, Nashville's a great city. It's an entertainment city. It's a big music town. There's a lot of culture there. Yeah, you should definitely explore it a bit, especially since you've never been there before.
Oh, yeah, I love the idea of that. And I'm thinking, I either could give musicians at the Rockin' Pod score music or sheet music of mine, or I could give them CDs. I'm wondering what you think would be better.
Yeah, can you do both?
That's what I was thinking.
I could probably do both. Yeah,
I'd say go all the way with it. Say,
right.
You say here's the CD, but if you want to play this stuff, here's the sheet music.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
What I'm saying is that anybody going to Rockin' Pod, if you guys know Lee, please take care of him, because when he gets really drunk, he gets really drunk. He's like Wadzilla, man. Somebody needs.
Wadzilla's gonna be there. So
I know.
Wadzilla once said that I was worse than him.
Oh, I think. Yeah. You passed out in the middle of a podcast before.
I think you're going to take some, and I said you're going to document this. I hope, Lee, you will take videos.
I'm going to try and take videos.
Yeah.
I want to do photos with, people and videos with them.
Yeah.
I mean, because if I'm paying this much, even though GoFundMe paid it, so it was really no money out of my pocket, I'm still gonna want to do some shit. I want to get a little bit out there and a little bit Lee-ish, and yeah.
Yeah, you should do your thing. Sounds awesome.
Well, I would I would have loved to have gone, but the thing is, I don't know when Disney's calling me back. They called everybody else back, but I said no like 3 months ago, and then I get put to the bottom of the seniority list, reverse seniority. So I think I'll be back in August, so there's no way I could take vacation, you know.
Well, yeah, after all this time off.
Yeah, it's like I got to go back to work. And
gotta do it.
and my location's open again, so I'm ready to go back. I'm kind of bored at home. I've been doing all these.
I can imagine.
Yeah, man. But
things.
man, I've seen some movies that your wife did. Man, those are pretty cool, Edwin.
Well, thank you very much. Jacob's Wife.
Yeah.
And the Castle Freak remake.
Yeah, and Brian Poston loved that movie. He posted about it. I was like, I put that on your on the page.
Yeah. Jacob's Wife is it's a great film. She did some great work on it, and it's a really cool film. And we were on the set when they for a couple days, and the whole cast was great. Barbara Crampton is great, and it's a really cool vampire comedy, horror comedy. And you're interested, people listening, you should definitely check it out on demand, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Shudder. You got Shudder?
Yep, I got Shudder now. I love freaking vampire comedies, man. Those are fucking the best.
It's about an older couple too, which you don't see that too often, and that's the thing. And Barbara and Larry Fessenden are both great. They have great chemistry, and I mean that's the thing I liked about it. Just watching it, it's just like, hey, this, even without the vampire stuff, this is a good couples movie, you know.
What movie? I can't remember what it is now. What movie was Roddy McDowall in that vampire movie? He did two of them.
Fright Night.
Fright Night 1 and 2.
Yeah. It has a little bit of that tone. When Kathy was working on it, she mentioned this tone is a little like Fright Night.
Fright Night. Yeah, it's not like like that one with Jim Carrey.
No, it's not that wacky. It's more like Fright. Yeah, Fright
It's
Night
more like Fright Night. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
It's a balance.
In fact, Edwin, if you want to see a very serious movie with Jim Carrey, he did a movie called Dark Crimes, and they did it in Poland, and he plays this private investigator, and other than the fact that he looks like him, you would not even believe the seriousness of the role. He acts and looks like a very serious, almost traumatized Polish police investigator. It's probably the most brilliant, role he's ever done. He does not have one ink of a wink of his Jim Carrey-ishness. He's very, very intensely serious in this movie, and there's no comedy in it whatsoever. And he's really good in it. The movie is very disturbing, but if you're into that, it's really well done.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I'll definitely check that out.
That was on Tubi. If you get Tubi, that's free.
Okay.
I also got Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but Dark Crimes with Jim Carrey. It's an intense movie, but I thought it's good.
That's Lee's pick of the week.
Yeah.
He's been talking about that on a couple other podcasts, and I don't think he's seen the one where Jim Carrey, the Spotless Mind movie, where he was like really intense in that one.
Oh yeah, he's done it a few times.
Yeah, and
I have to listen. I have to watch that too. I mean, I saw some of it, but this is even more intense.
I think if you guys all like B horror movies, you guys should all watch Full Moon movies, man.
Yeah, what about Basket Case? Basket Case. Yeah. That was
one of my wife's favorite movies.
That was so hilarious and funny. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, Basket Case is great.
Well, with Full Moon movies, man, you got the Puppet Master, Trancers, and Subspecies movies. Charles.
Yeah, and that's it. the original Castle Freak is Full Moon picture.
Yep. Castle Freak too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that I love that grime house, like straight to video kind of horror stuff in the 80s and 90s. Great stuff.
Yeah, I bought their subscription, $59 for a year, and I got all the Puppet Masters on Blu-ray.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. Or they would have gave me a credit in the movie. I said, fuck that. Give me the fucking movies. I could have chose to get a credit in their new horror movie or take the Puppet Master. I took the Puppet Master movies.
You chose wisely.
Yeah.
Right on.
I'm not going to get paid for that. Be having a credit. All right, well, let's get into these albums. We're going to do the Ratt EP from August 23rd, 1983, and then their full studio album, Out of the Cellar. But let's get into the Ratt EP first. This is their EP, man, that started it all for the band, and they had another guy on here, man. That wasn't in the original Ratt that we know, another guitar player, which he's not listed on here, and I had his name. Now I don't have his name, but he wrote songs on here. Let's see, I don't know. I'm out of it. All right,
did he get like replaced by DeMartini? Like
I think
at a certain point,
he got replaced by DeMartini. I think. Let me look on the Out of the Cellar talks about it more. His name is Joey Cristofani.
Yeah, in fact, what I want to say is that when it comes to the EP, there was a European version of the EP that had either he was on the version of You're in Trouble, excuse me, which was on the European version of the EP, or he was on a version of another song which was on Metal Massacre. But anyway, I listened to the Metal Massacre and I listened to the European EP, so I will be talking about that stuff. But let's see. I'm going to take a real quick look while you talk.
It also said Blotzer and Crocier was also featured on the compilation Metal Massacre, but was removed from later pressings of You Got It.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't see that the song was You Got It. But I'm not downing you.
Yeah, it says that. The European version also features an early recording of You're in Trouble as a bonus track, believed to feature Joey Cristofani on bass guitar.
Oh, You're in Trouble.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wait a minute. There was that I think actually was on the European version of the.
Yeah, that's what it said. It was
EP.
It was a European version of the EP.
I'm trying to figure out. There was Well, you can keep talking, and
Yeah, I don't have that European release. I have the obviously the U.S. release. So I don't have that one, but I've got to listen now on YouTube.
Do you have?
Never actually heard that.
Do you have the You're in Trouble on your?
No. That's why it's the European only. So I don't have. I'm not European. I don't have that.
That is a weird version of the song since nobody had it. I was listening to it because I have it on.
I can imagine how loud the bass must be because the bass is loud on Back for More, and You're in Trouble is like a bass-driven song, so that bass must be really loud.
Yeah, he does it. The bass is off though. It goes and then it stops, and it goes and it stops. I'm going, what the fuck is going on? It's not like that on Out of the Cellar.
The song on Metal Massacre was Tell the World.
Yeah, Tell the World.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the song that they did an original of. on Metal Massacre on the first press, and then after that they took it out of the other press. But You're in Trouble was the EP. So Tell the World was on the EP that we know, but the original version of it was on Metal Massacre. But You're in Trouble was only on the European version. Anyway.
What about the later? Because I have the original. I have the original vinyl. Got it from some record shop in LA, and I also have like a rip on my in my music library, like a digital rip, but it's like sounds like from the original vinyl. It's not, but I know a couple years later, after the success of Out of Cellar, they remixed this album, the EP, and they put it out on CD, and of course that's very rare now. But do you guys have a copy or heard a copy of that remix version? And does that remix version have You're in Trouble, or is it just the one 6 tracks?
I lost my LP years ago. I had the original one also, but it got stolen like in the late 90s, so I don't have it anymore, and I've been trying to find it again. But I have the digital version, which has You're in Trouble on it, and it has like them doing fucking that song by Fleetwood Mac, Don't Know Anybody Think I Can't, that song?
Yeah, I think that then you had you had the remix version, because that's the thing, they expanded it. They wanted it to be like album length.
It says Born on the Bayou. I think it's mixed with the Fleetwood Mac song too. So
so they added that song. They added that song in the You're in Trouble from the European release, so that they would have like 8 tracks, making it a proper album.
Yeah,
but that's remixed. It's got like a slicker production compared to the sound of the original, which is what I got, which is very raw.
I like the raw one better.
I don't know whether or not I had gotten the remix or the raw. All I know is I got the one that did not have You're in Trouble in it, and it seemed like it might have been the original on the EP, but yeah,
if it's only 6 tracks, it's the original.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. And then when I was hearing what I thought on YouTube of the the remix or whatever it was, that seemed better to me, but
some people prefer it. Some people don't like the rawness. I myself
like rawness.
Oh, I had the LP, and I fucking played the shit out of it till it got ripped off. So I liked it.
I mean, Ratt and Motley Crue were the 2 bands that back then I was in my collector mode, and I wanted to get every single thing that I could get. And so with Ratt, I got the EP, and I got Out of the Cellar, and I got Invasion of Your Privacy, because those were the 3 things that were out at the time. And I believe that I got them all at one purchase, because I wanted to make sure that I got everything that I could get from them. And so when I heard just really recently, like maybe a day or so ago, that there were remixes of a couple of songs or whatever it was, I was like, hell, I need to hear the Metal Massacre, and I need to hear the European version of Tell the World,
Yeah, well, I gotta check that stuff out on YouTube. I haven't listened to it, recently. I did listen to the remix on YouTube a while back, but not recently. I'm curious, Mark, when you where were you living when you had that copy stolen from you?
Hacienda Heights.
Yeah, because I bought some used record shop in Hollywood like many years later. It'd be funny if it was like the copy that was yours.
I think about that. I think about all these records that I got stolen, because I had a shit ton of vinyl back then.
I used to go. Someone might have just took it to a record shop and sold them all. In which case, it could be your copy.
I used to go to Moby Disc Records in Pasadena and buy 99-cent LPs, dude, and I'd stock up on that shit. It's like, and I'm like fucking, like I buy a used record. I go, I wonder if this was mine before. But I have a story about the Extreme CD. I bought the Extreme Porno Graffiti, and back then, after my vinyl got read, I put my initials in there, like MT, inside the little case. And my friend, I guess I let my friend borrow it, and then my other friend borrowed it from him, and he goes, "Look at this new CD I got. It's fucking Extreme Porno Graffiti." And I look at it, "This is mine, bitch." He goes, "How do you know?" It says MT in the middle of the fucking...
Look for that.
I still got the CD. I still have it from that time. I took it back from it. I took it. This is mine later, dude.
Yeah, my Ratt EP's in LA, so I don't have it handy because right now I'm in Florida. But when I go back there, I'm gonna look for the MT.
Well, I didn't put. That didn't happen until after my shit got stolen.
Okay.
I don't do that anymore. But back then, I go, "Fuck this! If it gets stolen, I'm gonna find it at a used record store. And go, this is mine, bitch." You know.
It was only $8. It was great. It sounds great. I mean, I love the rawness, and especially on the vinyl, it just sounds great. I bounce between, sometimes I say the EP's my favorite thing they ever did, but then I listen to Out of the Cellar and go, "No, it's Out of the Cellar." But then I listen to the EP and go, "No, it's the EP." So I kind of like bounce back and forth. I'll just say this: Ratt EP is their best EP. I think it's their only EP. But and Out of the Cellar is their best LP, best album. I definitely love these. This is definitely they peaked out of the gate, in my opinion.
It's just our buddy Wayne Noon, you know, he said he listened to the first two and he thinks it's generic. I go, dude, if you look back on it now, it seems generic, but back then, them and Motley Crue had their own sound. They go, everybody else copied them.
Even now, I think they definitely have a very Ratt-esque sound. I mean, I don't know. That word generic gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if the people who say that are teenagers.
Well, I kind of said that to Chris Sinzike the other day when he put out the new John Sykes. I said it just sounds like generic metal except for the solo.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Generic means, I said this, I mean, like a year or so ago when the new AC/DC album came out, and the Shot at Dark was the first single. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's kind of generic." And I was like, it's the opposite of generic because it sounds so much like AC/DC. Like, you could say it's formulaic. I think they're just using the word wrong. They mean formulaic. Like, that sounds like AC/DC by numbers, which you don't mind if you love AC/DC perhaps, but which I definitely don't. But the thing is, it's so distinctly AC/DC from the first guitar note that's the opposite of generic. Generic means it's just could be any guitar player, could be any stock, like music in a movie or something, like any stock guitar, stock heavy metal. And when I hear Ratt, to me, they have a very specific guitar tone, and you got Steven's vocals. It's just you instantly know it's Ratt. So I don't think they're generic at all. I mean, and I could say the same for early Motley Crue and a lot of those bands in the first half of the 80s. They musically, you would instantly know which band. Each band had a specific guitar tone. Like, there was the Ratt guitar tone, there was the Motley Crue guitar tone, there was the Dokken guitar tone. As soon as you hear it, that's their sound. So I don't think generic at all.
Well, with John Sykes, I expected like gold, and I was like going, this is like dun, dun, dun. It's like kind of the new Dee Snider albums. It's not like Twisted Sister. It's just like the driving guitars, and it doesn't sound like Dee to me, and it doesn't sound like John Sykes to me. It doesn't sound like something. I don't know.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I listened to it and I thought the same thing. It's just like they push a button and it's like heavy metal.
Yeah, it's just like, where's the creativeness? Where's Blue Murder? Where's fucking your Thin Lizzy shit? You know,
it doesn't have that sensuality and groove that like Blue Murder had. And Thin Lizzy. It just sounds kind of robotic.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I heard that John Sykes. I was excited, and then I was like, oh my god, this is not John Sykes to me.
I'm going to give a plug. I did an episode on Rock and Metal Combat Podcast where I reviewed the Blue Murder album with them.
Oh, really?
So if you listen to that podcast, I'm on it.
I don't know how I missed that one. I thought I listened to every Rock and Metal Combat podcast. I do not recall that one.
Who knows? Maybe they were embarrassed and decided to take it off. I'm kidding.
I think
in the end.
I'll listen to that
probably
tonight.
if you have a search engine for rock and metal punk, podcast,
tongue
and
twister,
look under Blue Murder, you'd probably find it.
You know what? It might have been early, if it's one of the earlier ones. I might have skipped. There might have been one or two I skipped if I wasn't. There was a certain point where I'd always listen to the podcast, no matter what band they were reviewing. But early on, when I first started listening to it, I only would listen if it was like an album I knew or liked, or a band I was interested in. At the time, I wasn't into Blue Murder yet. Actually, I only got into Blue Murder like in a big way a couple months ago. Actually, a friend hooked me up with their catalog, like the 2 albums and the live album, and I love it, especially that first album. And I always liked John Sykes a lot as a guitarist, but I was like so impressed by him as a singer and songwriter, and it's especially that first Blue Murder album. I think it's amazing. And so maybe like a couple years ago, whenever it was on the Rock Metal Combat podcast, I was probably like, I wasn't so into Blue Murder, but now I am. So I'm gonna fucking listen to that tonight.
Yeah, you might not appreciate every single thing that I say about it, but hey, more power to you listening to it.
I still think
it's all right. We all got our own opinions.
I don't dislike everything. I'm just saying that in a couple of cases, I have some things to say.
I think Lee's best episode is the Poison. Look what the cat dragged in.
I did.
I did. That's only because I was drunk. The one that I think was really good was the Judas Priest one.
I listened to that one. I listened. You actually did my favorite album of all time, Powerage, AC/DC. You were on that one.
Nice.
Right on.
We did Power Age on this podcast too.
That's my favorite album.
That's my favorite That's my favorite AC/DC album too. We agree on that one, man. That's awesome. But
let's get back to the Ratt.
Let's get into this album, and then our first track, Lee picked Sweet Cheater. So he's here, Sweet Cheater, on the Freeform Rock Podcast. Okay, that was Sweet Cheater. Why'd you pick this song, Lee?
This is really good, heavy drinking, cruising music. Back when I used to drink beer, this is the type of stuff I would listen to. I'd listen on my headphones on my Kenwood rack system with my big headphones and turn this up so loud there would be no way I would hear anybody knocking on my door for anything. It's fantastic.
What'd you think about it, Edwin?
Love it. Awesome. I love the grime of it. It's just like down and dirty. I love like early 80s, first half of the 80s, like grimy Los Angeles metal. To me, very different from what people would call hair metal or glam metal just a couple of years later. Like, yeah, the elements are there, like, but it's just like this stuff really sounds like it's from the streets, you know? It's more like kind of the American equivalent of a lot of like the new wave of British heavy metal, especially this EP, I think. You hear a lot of that. It's just, it just sounds tough. It doesn't sound all glossy the way even Ratt themselves would sound just a few years later. This is like real street, catchy, fun, sleazy, like Lee said, cruising music. You know, you feel like this is like early 80s Hollywood Boulevard, you know, cruising the strip. It just has that vibe to it. And it's in the guitar tone, the singing, everything. I love it. Love the grime. Love Sweet Cheater. I think it's awesome.
It just sucks. When I got a license, I started cruising Sunset Boulevard. Tower Records was still there, but the vibe was not there in '89. It was gone. It was like nobody's there anymore. There was no rock.
Was it like the early '80s?
No, I wish I was an adult back then, man. Fuck. Shit.
Yeah, we just missed that.
Yeah, we just missed that because '88 I turned 18, and then fucking '89 there was nothing there. It's like
everything.
Had you ever thought about complaining to your parents, saying, "Why the hell didn't you make me back a few years ago? Why did you make me so late?"
Well, my mom was young, so I don't think she could have made me at 15 or something. You know, maybe she could have, but
she could have technically.
She could have, but
I mean, I sometimes feel I was born too late, and I thought I should have been born in the 50s.
Dude,
but you know, oh well.
She had premarital sex, and my grandpa was a pastor. My grandpa loved the shit out of me, so. My grandpa rules. Everybody goes off on pastors, how they're judgmental. My grandpa
my biological mom was 16.
My mom wanted to give me up for adoption, and my grandpa told her no. Just say all Christian people are not assholes. Okay.
My family wanted her to maybe give me up, and she said no.
All right, Sweet Cheater, man. This is a fucking great song to cruise the boulevard to if you were back then. Fucking, I just remember, I know probably you guys both hate Def Leppard, but the only song I got play with, like, cruising the boulevard was Pour Some Sugar on Me with my big 12-inch speakers.
Oh, God.
I don't hate Def Leppard. I'm not a huge fan of Hysteria, and I don't like Pour Sugar on Me. But I love their first 3 albums.
Yeah,
yeah.
3 albums.
So fucking, man, this song is cool, man. Like I said, I wish I was there at that time. That would have been fucking awesome.
I like their first 2 albums.
Yeah,
all right.
They're the really best. Especially the High and Dry.
High and Dry, man. High and Dry. Yeah. Fucking Me and My Wine. I love that song so much.
I do like about 3 songs off of Pyromania.
All right, and then we get to the next song, You're in Trouble, which you
What are you talking about?
You.
We're on the EP, Mark. We're not
I'm on the wrong one. Okay.
You're on the wrong thing.
There we go. You Think You're Tough, which you picked, Edwin. So
yes.
Here's You Think You're Tough on the Freeform Rock Podcast.
You
That was You Think You're Tough. Why'd you pick that track, Edwin?
I love it. It's my second favorite Ratt song of all time, and my favorite song on this EP. It's awesome. Everything I said about Sweet Cheater, but like even more so, this just got that badass groove. I'm surprised this didn't get like remade for Out of the Cellar, because to me it's a single. It's very catchy, and it was their first single, this early version. But I'm surprised that they didn't want to redo it like they did Back for More. But anyway, it just has that groove to it, that kind of mid-tempo, tough but really catchy Ratt groove. To me, again, what I don't think Ratt's generic at all. Like, this song is so quintessentially Ratt, and it is tough. So, you think you're tough, and they're tough. Not the person they're talking to, but they are tough, and it just got that badass groove. I love it.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
This is as good as the first song. Maybe I like it even a little bit more. I didn't have a girlfriend and my self-esteem wasn't 100%, but this song would have been the soundtrack to my strutting down the street and wearing a leather jacket and looking at the cuties with confidence. This is a great song.
Yeah, this is a great song, and I'm glad they didn't remake it for Out of the Cellar, because it gives like a fucking killer track on the EP, man, that tells you, hey, man, we're gonna fucking come and we're gonna destroy you. This fucking song rules. I fucking love it. It's one of the best tracks off this album. Good pick,
and that's
Edwin.
true. If it was on Out of the Cellar, this wouldn't be as special. This is kind of in a lot of ways, like, this is almost, I feel like, the You Think You're Tough maxi single. So
exactly.
Yeah.
This fucking song rules. And then we get to the next song, You Got It. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Oh, You Got It. It's cool. It's almost punk, this song. It has a little bit of a Dead Boys vibe to it. I really love it. It's really raw. I mean, I think I love the first two songs more, but this song's great, and it's just so raw and different. Even in Out of the Cellar, there would not be anything like this song on it. Like, this is just something that's from the EP. This is early, raw, from the streets, like almost punk rap. And I love it, though. It's a great song.
So what'd you think about it, Lee?
I like the song, and it sounds like Aerosmith in a way. I wouldn't skip it because it's really good, but perhaps if I were to pick a song that seems not quite up to par with the rest of the songs, this sort of qualifies. Don't get me wrong. This would be the best song on an inferior group's catalog. So I'll say again, I like it, but there are other songs I like even more.
I agree with both of you, man. It's sleazy, it's slimy, it's gritty, and, I like the first two songs better, but this song is not bad. It's made for the EP, man. It's fucking great. You see where the band was going in their direction on this song? Fucking killer track. And then, we've already touched on it, but then if you had the European release, they had the You're in Trouble, which I listened to it, and it had a weird bass line going through it. So let's flip this over and get to Tell the World. And we were supposed to have Mighty Mick Watkins on here, and he picked this track. So here's Tell the World on the Freeform Rock Podcast.
I know
That was for Mick Watkins. Since he had band practice today, he had to bone out on us, but that's okay, man. He rules. So what'd you think about Tell the World, Edwin?
Awesome song. Killer song. Again, I like this more than You Got It, not as much as the first two tracks, but it is an awesome song. This reminds me, this is kind of similar to some of the stuff that like Crew was doing early on, and it's very distinctly slimy, grimy, LA metal, but you know, they're ambitious though, you know, it's like Tell the World, like, you know, they're not staying on the streets, they're gonna spread their rat infested. They're going to infest the world with their rat stuff. It's great. I love it. It's just a great, and it's short. You know, it's like 3 minutes. All these songs are just like short and almost, like I wouldn't say they're bubblegum yet. They started to have kind of a hard rock bubblegum quality a little bit in the next album. But they already knew how to write songs that were really short and hook-driven and catchy. And Tell the World's just another song like that. Keeps the party going.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
This is a great song and has great power, but I heard the original from the Metal Massacre compilation, and that was great too. And I like that version a little bit better than this. But both versions are really good. It gets my approval.
I agree with both of you. I kind of like the next album's version better. But this is really good and raw, and it tells you where they're going with their music. Really cool song. Then we get to Back for More. Oh, well, I was talking about Tell the World. Tell the World's good. I messed up. Back for More.
Yeah, Back for More is the one.
Yeah, on the next album, yeah, but that's what I meant. Tell the World is a really cool track.
Mark runs a tight ship.
I'm fucking sloppy as hell. I'm fucking like Ian when he's drunk a little bit, man. I go, what are we on?
At least you're not like me where I just all of a sudden fall asleep.
Yeah, that's true. Tell the World is fucking awesome, man. And then we get for Back for More. What'd you think about that one, Edwin?
Back for More, one of my favorite Ratt songs. I always used to bounce between, I didn't know which one I liked more. I lean towards the Out of the Cellar one more now. I think it's a little more defined and in the pocket and a little more powerful. And the bass and I love loud bass, and Juan's bass line is awesome in this song, especially during the verses, but I think it's a little bit too loud on the EP. But it's great, it's funky. Now this, you hear a lot of Aerosmith throughout this album. And this is another song, especially in the verses. To me, the verses sound very Aerosmith in that way that it's both, it's funky, it's kind of funky, but grimy and dirty at the same time. I hear a lot of Rocks and Night in the Ruts Aerosmith, which those are my two favorite Aerosmith albums, so nothing wrong with that. And you could just tell that they love Aerosmith, but Back for More also has a touch of Zeppelin-esque quality with the acoustic guitar in the beginning. And it's kind of mystical, and it's like starts off mystical, but then gets funky and dirty, then gets kind of melodic, and then it gets back. It does a lot of stuff, but it all works, it all flows. It's great. This is really the song that kind of creates the template for the next album, so it makes sense that they would re-record it for the next album. But it's an amazing song, one of my favorite Ratt songs, and it always stirs something in me whenever I hear it.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
I like this version a little bit better than the one on Out of the Cellar. But this is a great song. It almost has an Aerosmith Season of Wither vibe to it, or at least a song from Get Your Wings. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like it. I like Edwin was saying, I flip-flop between both, but the bass line is kind of strong on this one. I like the more polished version on Cellar, but we'll get to that one later. That's a really cool song. It's the longest song on the album, 5 minutes and 16 seconds. It's like, damn.
Yeah, this is the epic.
This is the epic on the EP. And then we get to the last song on the EP, Walkin' the Dog, which was a cover of from 1963, Rufus Thomas, which also, this was an ode to Aerosmith because they did this on their first album. So, Walkin' the Dog. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Great cover of a cover of a cover. I mean, this is the thing. As you know, it's the last song on Aerosmith's first album, but it was also the last song on the Rolling Stones' first album. And yeah, so this is the thing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so so the Rolling Stones were obviously covering Rufus Thomas's original, the original soul kind of novelty, funky soul song from Rufus Thomas, who wrote it. And they covered it, and it was the last song on their first album, both the American and UK versions, too. And
wow.
So when Aerosmith did their first album, they were doing a homage to the Rolling Stones. Obviously, the Rolling Stones were a huge influence on the Aerosmith, so they chose to do, like, hey, Rolling Stones ended their first album, Walking the Dog, so we'll do the same thing. But it's funny, because then Ratt does it, but like you said, Mark, Ratt's not doing it. I don't think they're even doing it because of Rolling Stones. They're clearly doing it because Aerosmith did it. Like we've been saying a lot already, that Aerosmith is clearly a big influence on these guys. And Steven's singing is very, I think, Steven Tyler-esque. And you could just hear that they love Aerosmith. And they're in that age bracket. Like, they would be teenagers when Aerosmith was, big. So... So it's funny because it's essentially like, I don't even know if they even are aware. I don't know if Ratt were even aware that Rolling Stones did this, that Aerosmith were doing what they did. But there it is. It's like a copy of a copy, essentially, or a cover of a cover of a cover. I think the Aerosmith version's the strongest of all the Walking the Dogs. I just really love that version. But this is good. I ain't kicking it out of bed. It's a decent version. It shows that they could mimic that Aerosmith groove and kind of bring it into the 80s, and it's a great way to end the album. And I like this. I like the lineage. I like this idea of different generations of bands, of sleazy cock rock bands doing Walking the Dog at the end of their first release. I like that. I like the whole idea of it. So pretty cool.
Well, it's just like Aerosmith, huge influence on them was the Stones, and then Ratt takes the Aerosmith and takes their version,
Yeah, exactly.
So what'd you think about it, Lee?
Well, this is okay, but I prefer Aerosmith's cover. This is well done, but this would be, in my opinion, the one genuine filler tune on here. It's okay, I don't dislike it, but it seems like an afterthought because they needed to put another song on the EP.
I like it a lot. I never heard the Rolling Stones version. I need to go back and check that out because I love the Stones.
I heard it, but I forget it. So I can't even tell you how it is. Even though I heard it, I forget how it sounds.
It's pretty raw. I mean, it's the 60s. If you listen to the first couple Rolling Stones album, they're very raw. They're almost like garage rock.
Yeah.
They're not as like polished as the early Beatles. Early Stones is very raw, and it's great. It's pretty good. But I do think the Aerosmith version's even better. I think that's the best of all the Walking Dogs.
I think I kind of agree with you there.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you also, and I think Ratt did a really good version of it. It's like you got these old blues standards that these rock bands do. Like you have Train Kept A-Rollin'. I think Aerosmith did the best version of that one.
Oh, also. Hell yeah, they did.
So it's
they even did better than the Yardbirds.
Oh yeah,
or not I think.
Yeah, 70s Aerosmith's kind of tough to beat. They were really top of their game.
Yeah.
Huge fan of 70s Aerosmith, and when they didn't do covers often, but when they did it, they did them really good.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like Aerosmith got me into a lot of like old grimy rock back in before, like Rolling Stones. I knew the Rolling Stones, but I didn't listen to them until Aerosmith started talking about them a lot. And I go, I need to listen to some Rolling Stones, and it got me into a lot of Rolling Stones. And my mom was into some Rolling Stones, and I go, oh, that's just mom rock. They talk about dad rock. Mine was mom rock. Yeah. But my mom was way into Aerosmith. I remember her playing big 10-inch record, and I didn't even know the meaning until I got older. And I looked at my mom one day and go, oh, Mom.
That's not one of the songs that I like.
I know,
my
but
brother Steve liked it, but I didn't.
But when I figured out that meaning, I looked at my mom. I go, "Really, Mom? You used to play that for me all the time." I don't want to know that about you. It's like, let's get into Out of the Cellar now. And I have something to say. Everybody talks about Juan Croucier. On these first two albums, he basically wrote 3 songs with them. So everybody's.
Yeah, could I say one thing about Juan too?
Cool.
I knew like I always liked the bass on "You're in Trouble," and I could hear he was a good bassist, but I was not aware of just how good of a bassist he was. He's awesome. When I watched those old clips, I posted this online like a year or so ago of him with Dokken and when they played Germany. If you ever watch those clips of them in Germany playing, he's on fire. He's doing all this sick shit on bass, and he does this awesome bass solo, and it's just like I feel like he was being held back a little in Ratt. I'm sure eventually in Dokken, as George started to dominate the band a little bit musically, he would have probably been held back there too. It was the early '80s where things were kind of looser and still had a little bit of a '70s hangover where they let drummers and bassists do things.
Yeah.
At a time in the mid '80s, drummers and bassists were more reined in. Like you couldn't do shit. But if you watch this old early clip, this early show of Dokken with Juan from the it's like 81, 82, and they're doing like Paris is Burning and shit and stuff from the first album, Breaking the Chains. Juan, he's on fire and he's doing all this crazy shit, and it's so raw, and the band sounds great. Don's playing guitar as well. They got two guitars in the band, Don and George, and he sounds amazing on it, and that made me really appreciate him. And now when I listen to Ratt, his bass kind of jumps out at me a little bit more than normal,
Right on.
And he's a really underrated bassist, and he was a good backing vocalist too, and an underrated bassist, and he had great stage presence, and so I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Juan.
I am too, but everybody said that he was the best songwriter, and I think it's Robin Crosby and Stephen Pearcy that wrote all the great songs to me.
Yeah, I do agree with that for the most part.
I think Robin Crosby.
I think that there were pretty much 2 or 3 great songs on each Ratt album, and that's my opinion.
So we start with Out of the Cellar, and we get to Wanted Man. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Amazing. One of their greatest songs. One of my favorite Ratt songs. I'd say maybe this is like my 3rd favorite on this album. Most of my favorite Ratt songs are from this album. I'll just say my favorite Ratt song of all time is Lay It Down. And then maybe you think you're tough, but after that, it's just a bunch of songs from this album. I mean, this album's amazing. And Wanted Man, it just instantly, like I said, they have such a distinct sound, a guitar riff. It's somewhere between a Malcolm Young and George Lynch riff, but it's somewhere in the middle, which makes it, that's a Crosby, riff. It's that rhythm. It's just so meaty. Dan, 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 dan. It's kind of dark and after hours, and then it goes into the verses where it's more melodic and gets clean, and then heavy again, and the vocals, it's just, they're on fire. It's so goddamn catchy. And that's like, this is where they almost bring in this like a little bit of especially on the big hit from the album, a little bit of a bubblegum quality. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way. Like, it's just really catchy, the way like early Beatles is kind of bubblegum, or like the Ramones sometimes. Just something really it's ear candy. And it's grimy, it's dark, it's rockin', and it's really poppy and catchy all at the same time and seamless. And I, for the most part, think Ratt were fairly consistent, but they never hit things like what they were doing on this first album. I think like 5 years later, they wouldn't be able to write songs this infectious, this catchy and memorable, and it's one of their greatest songs. I love Wanted Man. Every time I hear it, I get charged. It makes me want to go out and party, and have a wild night.
Yeah, this is written by co-written by bassist. He was a bass player, Joey Cristofani, who briefly substituted for Juan Croucier. So it's Robin Crosby, Stephen Pearcy, and Joey co-wrote this song. So what'd you think about it, Lee?
This is a good song. It's a good enough song to start the album if someone hadn't heard the EP. But something about the song sounds like the group is slightly less powerful or a tiny bit tame. It's one of the better songs on the album, but it sounds cookie cutter to me. It's not fantastic.
I fucking love this song. I just remember watching fucking Weird Science, and this song was in there when she's pointing a gun at the dad. They go, "You shut up! You listen here." He's whacking it in the bathroom. What? You told me you were coming here. And the song keeps playing. The song plays as they're leaving. Like fuck yeah. And eventually they put the song back in the mix on the movie, because when it came out, the song was disappeared from it. Then they got the rights to all the songs, and then the movie was released with all the regular songs. But this song is fucking awesome. I love the video when they're in a fucking cowboy thing and shooting shit. Fucking great movie. Great song. Comes from a great movie also. Fucking, this song rules. Great opening track. And then we get to, I have a little conundrum here, because both of you pick You're in Trouble, so I'll just call it both your picks. So here's You're in Trouble by Ratt, picked by Edwin and Lee on the Freeform Rock Podcast.
That's fine.
You're in Trouble. Why did you pick this song, Edwin?
It's awesome. I know originally I said Back for More, but I was listening to this album, before we did this, and I was just like, who am I kidding? It's You're in Trouble. That's my favorite song on the album. This song's amazing. I got to listen to that original European version, because I don't recall what that sounds like exactly. But this version sounds amazing. Juan's bass on it, and it's so funky and dark and dirty and kind of brings you in. If Wanted Man is a little too glossy for Lee. This kind of brings you back to the grime a bit of the first EP. But the production's amazing, and then the way the guitar chords hit during the chorus, it's so tough. It's so unique. Yeah, this sounds just... only Ratt could do a song quite like this. To me, this is the epitome. It's both funky and grimy and rockin' and sexy and dangerous all at the same time. I love this song. Love it, love it, love it. My favorite song on the album, and maybe like my third favorite Ratt song, period. Awesome song.
What'd you think about this? Your pick too, Lee. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, I heard the original on the European version of the EP, and I like this version better. It's somewhat of a deep cut, but there's something about it I dig. It's probably one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah, the European version, did you notice that they're plucking the bass out of order? It just sounds weird. It's like a little pluck, and then it plucks, and it stops. Weird.
I do say that the solo is very great on it, but I would say, yeah, in general, the basic song, I like this a lot better.
Yeah, on the EP, it's the European version. It's a little bit off to me, the bass, but everything else sounds really good. And it's a little slower too.
Yeah, yeah. It's not horrible. It's just that this is way better, I think.
Yeah, this is a great fucking track. This is one of the all-time, like Edwin said, one of my all-time favorite fucking Ratt tracks. And this song just rips, man. It fucking rips. I love it. And then we get to the song that fucking made this band a star. Get to Round and Round. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Love it. Never gets old. This is a song you could always hear. As many times as you hear this song, it's probably not even one of my favorite songs on the album. It's probably like a mid-tier song, I'd say. Maybe like my 6th favorite song on the album. But I can hear why it was the hit it was. And the hit it is. It's still a hit. The song, entered the charts again like a year or so ago because it was used in a commercial. And you can hear why. Like, this is the type of classic. It's a classic pop metal song. Kind of like Def Leppard's Photograph. It's just one of these songs that's pop perfection, and it transcends the genre. Like, yeah, if you're a metalhead, you're going to love this song, but you don't even have to love metal to love this song. A girl that likes Britney Spears could like this song.
Oh my God.
But really, it just has that accessibility to it. It's pure ear candy. It's a perfectly written and produced catchy song. It always makes me think of one of my favorite movies is The Wrestler.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
There's that great scene where he's at the bar with Marissa Tomei, and they're doing some day drinking together, and getting to know one another. And then this song comes on the jukebox, and Mickey Rourke starts dancing to it, and she's laughing, and they're having a good time. And it's just like, man, I connected a lot that scene, because that's like me. If I'm at a bar, and the right song comes on, fuck it, I'll start dancing a little bit to it. And this is a song like that. How could you not enjoy this song? It's just so fun. But as it is, there's like 4 or 5 songs I like even better than this song. But it's a classic. It deserves to be a classic. It's a little pop metal masterpiece, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree with that. What do you think about that, Lee?
This song is not a bad song, but it sounds cookie cutter to me. It's like the group is losing steam in the songwriting. It's a song that's half good and half too predictable.
Dude, this song has so many fucking memories for me. I bought the 45 of this because watching the video on MTV, fucking the hot chick up there losing her fucking skin, fucking Milton Berle, fucking great ass fucking video. Fucking Warren DeMartini falling on the table from above, fucking playing that solo. I brought this 45 to fucking church and played it for my fucking Sunday school teacher at 12, dude. And I played it, and they didn't say anything about it, but they let me play it. And it's like, I'm playing fucking Ratt at church. Fucking, this song rules, man. I never gets old. Fucking love it. Fucking great memories on this song, man. Yeah, I wish I had a picture of me playing this fucking 45 and I lost it.
I played the 45 of Sugar Mountain at my home with Heart of Gold, Neil Young.
But did you take metal to fucking church and play metal in your fucking church? I did.
I played Neil Young, Sugar Mountain, and Heart of Gold on my own stereo.
Dude, I had the 45 of this and I took it to church, man. Come on. That's metal at church.
Sounds like I brought a container of honey to a vegan. Oh boy!
You know, Ian Wadley would probably love that story. Me taking metal to church. You know.
yeah. He took a pot of honey to a vegan. Oh, how rebellious!
Said, I wish I liked Iron Maiden at the time. I would have brought Number of the Beast.
Oh boy!
All right, and we get to the next track, In Your Direction. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
This song, I like it. I mean, I like every song on this album. I'd say I'd call this filler, but, you know, I don't even know if it's killer filler, but it keeps the party going. You know, the guitar tone's there. It's rocking. I don't think melodically it's as memorable as the 3 songs before it, or pretty much every song after it, but it does its job. It's short. It rocks. There's some cool guitar hooks here and there. So, like I said, it keeps the party going. Nothing special, but it keeps the party going. Keeps me listening to Out of the Cellar.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
I somewhat like the deeper and lesser known cuts better. This has a vibe to it that says it's not ever going to be a hit, but that is what makes it kind of cool to me. It's probably the one song on here that makes me think it could have been on the EP.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I think it's killer filler, an album track. It's fucking keep, like Edwin said, it keeps the party going, and then you get into the next track, She Wants Money. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Yeah, now this one Juan wrote, She Wants Money. It's a great track. I wouldn't say one of the better songs on the album, but I do like it. It's fun. It's kind of a little punk. It's very simple, catchy, and it's a good way to wrap up the first side of the record. Dig it. Not one of my favorites, but I do like it, and like In Your Direction, it keeps the party going.
What did you think about it, Lee?
I don't love this. The beat is good, but the music almost reminds me of the Go-Go's. I'm sure they could have done this better. I'm not a fan of the happy poppy melody.
Yeah, this is a good song. It's not one of the best. It's like the first 3. It's like, wow. And then you get to these 2, and they're album tracks, which is cool. It's not like bad songs, but they're good. And then we flip this bitch over and get to Lack of Communication. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
I like it. I like it better than the last 2 songs. Still not as much as the first 3. So I would say, if anything, Out of the Cellar, I think the middle of the album is not the strongest middle of albums that normally I would consider classic albums. But still, you know, it's hard. I mean, I like it. I like the hooks and the attitude. It's almost a little new wave-ish, I feel, the chorus, with the way they say lack of communication, you know, a little Devo-esque. And it's a cool song. Apparently it says on Wikipedia this was a single, although I don't recall a video being made for this. And it's interesting, they don't mention Back for More, which I know there is a video for and was a video for. So I don't know if Wikipedia is confused or this was like a promo sent to radio stations. But I mean, Back for More was the 3rd video that was on MTV. And I don't know. Do you know, Mark? Was there a video for Lack of Communication?
I don't remember a video for Lack of Communication at all. I remember Back for More.
Yeah, there definitely was a video for Back for More. I know that. But yeah, not for Lack of Communication. But it's a good track. It's catchy. It brings in a slightly different element from the other songs, and like I said about the last 2, it keeps me listening to the album. So I guess it's more killer filler.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
Okay, a great song. I might not be a fan of the background vocals that sound like robots, but the song is really good. I wish the rest of the album had this intensity.
I love this track. This is one of my favorites. I love the crunchy riffs by Warren and Robin going on this. Dun, 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 dun. It's like fucking yeah, but yeah, the chorus is kind of robotic, but it's a good album track. I like it, and it's a good track to start side 2. After the last 2 were getting a little bit lower, but this song is great. I love it. And then we get to track 7, Back for More. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Love it. Like I said before, I used to think I liked the EP version better, which I do love, but I've decided I love this one even more. It's shorter, it's tighter, it's more in the pocket. Like, you could tell that they've been playing the song now for a while as a band, so they're just playing it a little punchier. The mix between the guitar and bass, I think, is a little bit better. And it's an amazing song, though. It's majestic, melodic. It's the kind of song that like Dokken would do, which I love, which is, you know, very melodic, very memorable, very, very catchy, has atmosphere to it, and it's exactly like the place where it needs to be. It's like it brings in that vibe, kind of like Seasons of Wither brings in that vibe on the middle of the second side of Get Your Wings. Like, this is where you want a song like that that brings in something a little different, you know, and it does that. It's great. This is where like the album kind of picks up again, in my opinion, and I love it. It's classic. One of my favorite Ratt songs. Definitely a top 5 favorite Ratt song. Love it. Great video too.
What did you think about it, Lee?
This is also a good song. I do like the EP version better, but this is better than Round and Round and Wanted Man. I wouldn't have minded if this was the first song on the album.
I think it's a great song with those fucking harmonies. Stephen Pearcy sounds amazing on this track. And I like it how it's a little bit more tighter than the EP. The EP was like the epic. This is way better. I like this version a lot better. But you could hear like the EP version was kind of the demo where they're playing with it. Like you said, maybe they're playing around with it more, playing it live, and they condensed it and made it better. More punchy. Yeah, I think it is. And then we get to the next song, The Morning After. What'd you think about this one, Edwin?
Love it. Great song. This, to me, it's the epitome of killer filler. Yeah, it's not like a single or anything, but man, it's heavy. I love the chords. I love that chord progression. I love the sound, the attitude. It's grimy, but kind of lush at the same time. It's very, I find it to be unique, especially the chords that they're playing. I really love the vibe of the song. This is, again, something that sounds like just Ratt. Only Ratt would do a song that sounds like this. And I think it's maybe like my 4th favorite song on the album. I really love it. I think it's not a song I hear people talk about, but I think it's great. It's one of my favorites. The Morning After. It's awesome.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
They shouldn't do Ted Nugent's style unless they do it right. This song doesn't thrill me. It's definitely a filler piece.
I think it's killer filler. I like the crunchiness of it. I love fucking Steven's voice on this. It's like if you hear Steven sing, you know it's Ratt. You know, you hear Don sing, you know it's Dokken. You know, you hear Dee Snider sing, you know it's Dee Snider. You know, you hear fucking, what's that, Brittany Fox, you don't know who the fuck it is. But this is fucking, you could tell what bands are which bands by the guitar tone and the singers. And this band has a lot of originality at this time until everybody started copying this shit and fucking tried to sound like everybody. Fucking even Poison sounds like Poison. You know,
but you're right. The one thing when you brought up Brittany Fox, that's the thing. That's to me generic. When you get into the late '80s, where there were so many of these bands, by that point, you could close your eyes and not always know which band was which. But in the first half of the '80s, that's not the case. You knew Twisted Sister, you knew Ratt, you knew Cinderella, you knew Dokken, Motley Crue. They all had very distinct sounds, in my opinion.
It's like Brittany Fox. What are they, a Cinderella clone?
They're just kind of watered down Cinderella.
Yeah, it just fucking sucks. Like I said, even Poison sounded like Poison, and everybody started sounding like a neutered version of Poison. I go, what the fuck is this shit? You know, it's like, dude, stop.
I will say this, Bret Michaels' lack of vocal abilities did kind of make him a little distinct, because normally those other singers could sing more, but they were more generic. Whereas Brett, like, you'd say, oh, that sounds like a guy who must be good looking because he can't really sing well. so that in itself, it made you know it was him.
True. And then we get to the next track, I'm Insane, which Mick picked. So here's I'm Insane, the pick by Mick, on the Freeform Rock Podcast. That was I'm Insane. What'd you think about that one, Edwin?
Awesome tune. Like I said, I feel like the first couple songs from this album, and then the last couple songs, to me, that's where the peaks are. And this is another great song, very heavy but catchy. Probably this could be the heaviest song on the album. I know it's pretty heavy and dark and just badass. It's just badass. That's the thing. Ratt were tough and sounding and badass, and this definitely keeps the party going. I'm like all charged up, and this is a great like second to last song. You know, it's good to have like a heavier song like this as a second and fast song and short song like this to kind of one last rage out, and then we're going to get into some kind of different, more meditative, perhaps epic song afterwards. But so it's great second to last track. I love I'm Insane.
What did you think about it, Lee?
I'm going to say the opposite of what I said about the last song. It's cool they did Ted Nugent style because they did it right. This is one of the best songs on the album. This should have been the second song on the album. This beats most everything else on here.
Yeah, and this is where Ratt is missing Robin Crosby, because fucker was insane songwriter, man. Fucking, this is a great song written by him only, and this fucking song rules. I fucking love it. I would have picked this track if Mick didn't pick it. But this fucking great pick, Mick, man. I love it. And then we end the album with Scene of the Crime. What do you think about this one, Edwin?
Now, if the original Back for More was the epic on the EP. This is the epic for this album, you know, even though it's still less than 5 minutes, but I do think it's the longest. Yeah, it's the longest track on the album. Almost 5 minutes. It's 4 minutes and 54 seconds. But See That Cry, it starts off almost sounding like The Who. And you're like, whoa, what is this? What's Ratt doing? They sound like the Who here. But then they get into the Ratt sound, and it's just a very unique sounding song. I love it. It's one of the best songs on the album, I think. I love the backing vocals on this. Very grimy, but yet there's a little bit of that bubblegum quality to it as well. So it's a very unique song, very weird in a way, because it's kind of poppy, but then kind of dark and grimy at the same time. Like, to me, this could have been a single, but they say bitch a lot, so that wasn't going to happen. But it's a great song, great way to end this album, and it's just very original and very unique. I love this song, See No Crime. It's a great song.
What'd you think about it, Lee?
This is a cool song, and it reminds me of the last song on Manifestation, which was an album they did years later.
Infestation?
This Manifestation.
Infestation.
Okay, you say man, I say in. Or I say in, you say man. It's the Festation album.
Okay, we're the sloppy podcast, so they'll let it go. All right, go ahead.
Or the Chip Boyo Defestation Spaghetti album. Anyway, this could have been on the EP too. It has a cool kick-ass style. I dig it.
Yeah, fucking cold-blooded bitch walking out on me. This is a fucking great song to end the fucking album, man. This is fucking amazing. And it's fucking Crosby with Crucier, the best two songwriters in Ratt. I think they are, man. Fucking rules, man. Fucking Robin.
Yeah, I think he was an amazing songwriter. And those riffs, like I said, it was kind of like, you know, Malcolm Young. He can just knock out, at least for the first couple albums, the first three albums, I say, in the EP, he was just knocking out great riff after great riff.
Yeah, man, what a loss we had with him, man. That sucks. Like, did you guys ever hear that interview he did with Full Blown AIDS with Mitch LaFon?
Nope.
Oh man, it's fucking. You could hear him talking. He's in a thing to watch. You know, what is it? It's your last moments. He's in that hospital, like under care. He's there with Mitch, and it's pretty sad listening to him. But it's a great interview, though. Oh man, this is a great EP. Great fucking.
Should we also talk about someone else who's connected to this, who died this year, is Tawny Kaitan, who's on both album covers
and the video.
She's on the Back for More video. She's on the EP. She's the legs on the EP, and she's the girl on the cover of this album. And it's the same year that she did Bachelor Party.
Oh, I love that movie. Nobody really knows that movie. I put up Nick the Dick, and nobody knew who that was. I go, what the fuck? Nobody knows.
Great movie. It's my favorite Tom Hanks movie.
It is. It's mine too.
It's all downhill after that.
Oh fuck! I love Turner and Hooch.
No Bachelor Party.
No, it isn't.
Tawny, she was dating Robin at the time. This was before she, I guess you could say, traded up with David Coverdale. But she was with Robin. She was his girlfriend, and that's why. But to me, the image of her legs on the Ratt Cup EP and her crawling, through the alley on the Out of the Cellar. To me, that's iconic, and she was a part of it. Part of that's the image, and it was I consider that a factor that should be mentioned as well.
The sleazy LA fucking sound right there, the image of it.
And the big hair, and it's great. It just all adds. It's an aesthetic, and that's the thing that's lacking from a lot of later new metal, and there's something more robotic about it. You hit a button. There's not this thing that feels like it's connected to a scene. Like this music in this album, it's distinctly Los Angeles, and Los Angeles in the early 80s. Yeah. So it makes you think of that and that culture, just like kind of like the Beach Boys in the early 60s with California culture. Yeah. But now it's this period, and that's something that you don't hear so much. Now everything's very generic, and there's formulas, and this is what things should sound like. Like the producers are running everything rather than bands. And that's this is why, to me, this album still holds up. It still is fresh and original and exciting and sexy. And I love both this album and this EP, and I think it's the best thing Ratt ever did. It's 1-2 punch with the EP and this first album.
Yeah, it really is, and it's like you said, generic metal. It's like LA sound had a fucking groove. It was a fucking groove to it. It's like now there's no fucking groove to it. It's fucking, you get into these bands. I like Disturbed, but they don't have that fucking groove, man. They don't have that fucking... Even Whitesnake had a fucking groove, man.
Oh, Whitesnake was all groove.
It was all fucking groove, man. It's like, where's the groove in music? Where's the fucking... You know, fucking... I think the only band that really has that anymore is fucking Chili Peppers. You know? They still have a fucking funk, like, metal groove, but they're not metal, you know? But they still...
Well, and they're from the 80s as well.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing.
But it's like these newer bands, man. Where's the fucking groove? Where's the fucking... Like, shit I could bang my head to. Where's the fucking thing I could put my arms in here playing air drums and fucking playing air guitar? It's not there anymore, and it's irritating. It's like, these bands aren't going to live forever, man. And we need some new bands. Well, you have some new bands out there like fucking Dirty Honey. It's really fucking good.
Oh, there's underground bands.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of that Swedish band Bullet, which I did a video about a couple months back. They got a lot of that groove to it. But in terms of the more mainstream stuff, top 40, in terms of rock and metal, the more popular stuff, you don't hear it so much in a lot of the contemporary stuff. You have to go underground. That's the thing. You got to just seek it out. But still, there's something very special and timeless about this music, and I love it. I love grimy LA first half of the 80s heavy metal music, and this is a classic, you know?
Well, you look in the Billboard Top 200, you got albums from this era still in the top 200. It's like...
Yeah. Young people are still digging this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing. More so than my nephew. He's a teenager, and he's like getting into Motley Crue and stuff now, and he loves it. And he before was just listening to like gangster rap, you know, and he jumped back to now listening to like 80s heavy metal, and it's like competitive with the contemporary hip hop he listens to, you know, more so than a lot of the contemporary rock. Like he has to go back to the 80s to hear rock and roll that has that swagger and attitude that feels like it's rebellious, you know, it's rebelling the way the teenagers like to hear that shit.
Yeah, man, the new stuff is just cookie cutter shit. You know, you get some good bands coming out here and there, but you have to look for them. You just can't like fucking come out and because fucking all you got is this Taylor Swift, Britney Spears shit going on right now, and it's like I don't know. I tried to listen to Taylor Swift and it's just flat. It's nothing to me, you know. She went from country to pop, and it's even worse. Go back to country or something. But I want to ask you a question because it says Tom Allom was originally slated to produce this album. What would you think this album would have sounded like with a Judas Priest producer on here?
I guess probably a little heavier, but more. I imagine the songs would have been the same, but it just might have been a little punchier and heavier. It's hard to say. I mean, sometimes like Martin Birch did Iron Maiden, but also did Whitesnake. You know, it's not like. I mean, everything's like really well produced that he did, and he also did Blue Oyster Cult, and you know those bands are all like. It's not like just because he produced them that the band's changed. It's like I said about how nowadays, like the producers kind of run things. In the 80s, you know, maybe the exception of Mutt Lange, even the top producers weren't really drastically changing the band's sound, you know. So I don't think it would be that different. Maybe it might, some of the heavier songs might have been even heavier, but I don't think it would have changed it that much because ultimately Ratt, this was their sound, you know. That's their sound. Although, who was the guy who had the idea to make Stephen Pearcy double track his vocals? Because that's what really created his sound, kind of like Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, that was Bo Hill.
So maybe Stephen wouldn't have sounded as good, possibly, because he's no Rob Halford. You know, Stephen needed a little bit of help in the studio. So
I think Stephen sounds good, hit or miss live, but I don't know if he has any backing for tracks with him. But
all I know it's that story.
I would say he does not.
He does not?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Okay.
He sounds like someone that needs to be double tracked. From what I've heard and seen live, I get why. But it creates a sound. Like his voice is to a degree kind of a studio creation. But the same is with Ozzy post Black Sabbath. Starting in the 80s, they did this thing where they double tracked Ozzy's voice all the time, and that's essentially what gave Ozzy his sound, like a very unique sound. So they did the same thing with Steven.
Yeah, they had a guy in the back singing background vocals with him.
Oh wow! See,
yeah, Robert Mason. He was a guy in he called himself the Wizard of Oz. He was in the back with a box up live on stage. He was in the back of the stage, and he was singing with Ozzy.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you see, and then when Bret Michaels came onto the scene and Poison became a big hit, people saw, you don't need to do all that. You can sound like shit, and if you're good looking, the girls don't care. They'll buy your album.
Well, this album peaked on the U.S. Billboard Top 200 at 7. It sold over 3 million copies. Canada just went gold. But I'm wondering if they redid these albums, how much more they would sell, because I think Van Halen would be over 20 million on the first album by now. It's like double diamond or whatever. But the record companies don't want to pay for this shit. So, thank you for being on here, Edwin. Again.
Wait, hold on 1 second. You all right, Lee? You all right?
You all right, Lee?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I am.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
All right.
It was fun to be here, guys. Good talking Ratt with you guys.
And then, sorry we missed Mick. He had band practice, man, but we'll get him on here for Invasion of Your Privacy.
Definitely got to do that. He's a Ratt expert. He loves Ratt and roll.
Yeah, I look at his post on Ratt. He's a total Ratt nut swinger, man. Yeah. Then we get to our tracks of the week, and Mick picked Demons Calling by Sabïre. You picked a cool track, Paris is Burning by Dokken. And then Lee picked Light of Darkness, Moving Along. And then I picked, since it's an LA band, I picked Y&T, LA Rocks. So, one of my favorite bands. And then we end with Lee, Theme for Detective.
Lee.
Theme
for Detective Lee.
Theme for Detective Lee, which is a pretty weird song, but I like it. All your songs are weird.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course.
All right. Well, thank you, Edwin. Do you have anything to promote before you leave?
No, if you want to see me ramble on about 80s heavy metal hard rock, 70s or 80s heavy metal hard rock, go to YouTube, Edwin Cannistraci, and that's where you can find me rambling on about all these kind of bands and this kind of music. And so that's all I got to plug.
And also check out Lee on the Lee Gershman Show podcast, and also his songs on YouTube. Check out his YouTube page, and check out our YouTube page. We still have 96 members. We only need 4 more to get 100. We're almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Got 3 digits.
Almost got 3 digits. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being on here. And Lee, say goodbye, man.
Bye.
Bye, Lee. Bye, Mark. Good times.
Detectively, is who I wanna be. Looking for women who interest me. They wear their tight shirts. They always know how to flirt. They'll shake my hand a long time, and that is really fine. I'm detectively. That's who I wanna be. Inspecting the people who humor me. Cause life is like that. When you're bored, you wanna do the thing that's fun. So here I go, singing again my fun song. Cause I'm detectively.
You have just listened to the Freeform Rock Podcast. All music played on the Freeform Rock Podcast belongs to its owner. If you like it, go out and buy it. Get your music on Amazon, iTunes, or at your local record store. Support what you love. Support the artist by seeing them live. Purchase their music. The Freeform Rock Podcast is not affiliated with any of the artists or music that we play. Thank you for listening to the Freeform Rock Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Until next time, stay free and rock on.